using all the different parts of the buildings. We saw FaZe trying to use that little bit of a lip to make the push back up, and that's what you got to do whenever you play on Miramar. But here we go. We're moving into our last round of the day. It's going to be Miramar, and we're headed up. Plane path's going to start right over Puerto Paraiso and going to end up right over there next to actually Trailer Park we were talking about beforehand.
It's time to get on it. Last game of the day. You want to carry over into tomorrow with some momentum. So a big round here for a lot of these teams. I've really got my eyes on teams like Tempo Storm and especially WClick and GEX. They are the sole survivors from their regions to make it to the finals. They're the bottom two teams. They really need to start turning it around here.
This is whenever some of these teams might start playing a little bit more dangerous, trying to go for early aggression. They've seen it be rewarded. Some of these teams, that's their whole style to play, and they're constantly watching this going, okay, maybe it's time to stop playing for the position. Let's just play for a fight. See if we can just win it, get a couple of points based off of that. But really, it's just about separation right now. Can some of these teams get the control points that they want? Because as the desk was alluding to, we're jumping back in, starting on Miramar tomorrow. So this can set the pace for moving into the last day of this event.
So much of this game is kind of feeling, how you feel, how your team feels.
Yeah.
If you're not clicking, if you're not working well together, if you're kind of maybe a little upset with each other or something like that, things can start to fall apart very quick. However, like you were saying, if you can pick up some early kills and maybe Sharky can land some early shots here, those are long range on those parachuters of Gen G.
Boy, that was about to make some Gen G fans real mad. Circle's gonna pop, and it's making its way back over towards that crater just north of El Pozo is gonna be the center point. Again, Na'Vi with their stretch way up towards the north, going to be very rewarded for positioning here.
Well, this circle looks a little familiar, Matt.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why. It's almost like we just saw it or something.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe we'll get that trailer park. It's a little more in there this time.
At least everybody has now the complete knowledge on how to play this. They're like, okay, we know how everybody's going to rotate. We know how everybody's going to move. So let's see if we can maybe use that. Now, again, a couple of these teams that do a lot of homework might go, hey, we know how people are going to rotate, might move a little bit earlier and see if they can get ahead of some of these rotations.
I mean, we're almost halfway through the finals already, Matt. So if you're one of these bottom teams that's in the bottom half, you got to start putting up points because right now these top four teams have situated themselves well ahead of the rest of the pack.
Yeah, it's just about can you start breaking into that position. Whenever we're looking at kind of how the leaderboard is set up right now, we've got Gen G up at the top, we got Force back behind that, 4 Angry Men, then Ace, and then from 4th to 5th, there's like 12 points right now. That's starting to be our generation point gap, and a lot of these other teams are just trying to scramble to climb up into that top 4 position.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll see exactly how the teams adjust to this, despite the fact that it is a very, very familiar circle so far, but that can change pretty quickly. The last one went pretty hard to the east.
But that also kind of messes with your head sometimes, because let's say you went out a little bit early. In your head, you're like, okay, I messed up on rotation, or I saw an issue here. Or maybe we might not see 4 teams just drive right next to each other and all crash right next to a shack. You know, there's slight modifications you can make to improve your game now.
Yeah, that was a bit surprising there. I felt like a bit like that Milta Power ending the other day. So now you've got.
I love it every single time. And yes,
I want to get a thrown weapon. Yes,
I know.
You and I were on the same page on that.
All I want in this so far is I just want to, even if it's already on a down person, just to walk by and be like, pah, and hit him with it. Just give it to me. My heart needs this.
I would love to see that. It would just, I would lose my mind. All right, this is Gen G, like we were talking about last round. They are up in El Azahar now, so if you're a Gen G fan, that is an unusual position to see them in. Last game was okay. They picked up some kill points, but they weren't really able to get much done other than that.
But the benefit of this is they're off towards the east, and nobody's really towards the north of them, so they can rotate across most of Miramar from east to west right now. Fairly open, just depending on how Na'Vi repositions. Meanwhile, Tempo Storm hopping inside their vehicles, and it's always a little bit nerve-wracking when you're making this first rotation out, but it feels like Tempo Storm and probably Ace are going to be the teams that have to go the furthest to make it towards the safe zone, so it's going to be interesting to see how they handle a rotation like this.
All right, you've got T1 heading in along with Entis Force behind them. Gen G's Pio is out there way ahead of the rest of Gen G. Now, that's very typical early on. Pio's going to be your recon, your scout, trying to find some room to work with inside of the circle, and right now he is kind of repositioned. I think he caught wind of T1's rotation to the north of Minas Generales and is going in a different direction.
So, you know, make sure to play off of it. Realize, okay, last time this didn't work, so let's try to do something else. These are these last-minute modifications, because that's what PUBG's all about. It's about this decision-making process of how you play through the game. Sure, your aim, you have to have that. You have to have the teamwork. but it's just a set of decisions and then reacting to how the circle plays around it. You have to make sure that you're just always trying to make the most out of every single thing that you learn in every round.
Well, I can remember back to the Face It Global Summit, the first Classic we played here in 2019.
Sure. Let's just give 4AM a crate. That's fine. Everything will be okay with that. Nothing,
all right.
Nothing bad's going to happen there. No.
Anyway, back to my point. We talked about this at the Face It Global Summit, right? Adaptation is one of the key words that we talk about in competitive PUBG. Round to round, match to match, day to day, you have to be aware of what's going on and you have to change because teams are going to adjust as well. And there's a lot of teams trying to adjust all at the same time.
One of the teams I'm going to have my eye on right now is going to be QM, and oh, that's going to be Kill going down. Going over to Tempo Storm Zampa, that's going to be First Blood popping off here, and Force losing one right off the get-go. That's kind of what a lot of these teams are really looking forward to. Again, we talked about these top 4 teams. If we start to see them go down early, expect people to start scrambling for points.
Yeah, Kale is going to pay for a late rotation there, and he is going to get caught in transition. The rest of Ventus Force is well ahead of Tempo Storm, but Kale was down more towards Los Leones, where the rest of Entis Force was up by La Bendita, so he got caught out because Tempest Storm's coming out of Impala just ahead of him.
It feels like a tale as old as time at this point. It's going to be Lazarus looking back over towards 4AM. These guys have it out for each other, and Sybil's trying to light up back over towards a rotating 4AM, but not going to be able to connect with it. It always makes me a little bit nervous when you got a friend peek out in front of you there, but going to get off a little bit of damage back over towards the vehicle, but that looks like that's going to be about it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like many of these shots have really connected with the bodies of any of the members of these 4 angry men, and they are going to be able to rotate ahead. Here is T1 potentially going to cross paths with Entis Force, and Lazarus is up on the hill as well, putting some shots into Duya. The tires are gone. It has exploded. Duya has to prone behind this.
He narrowly makes it away from that vehicle explosion, goes down, throws down the smoke, trying to get some more cover off of this. Are they going to lose another member this early? Curdy is already in rotation off to the side of this, just trying to line up the shot, spraying back over towards the smoke. Doya is not long for this world.
We were talking about adaptations, and right now Entis Force isn't doing so hot. Now Luke is coming up. Doya did manage to get the first aid kit off, so he's trying to protect this position as well as he can, but that's a good grenade, and he does not go down, though. He is very, very weak.
He's on a smidgen of life right now and just barely juking outside of these grenades, trying to get something out of it. Meanwhile, 4 Angry Men are taking some shots back over towards QM, trying to get away from this. It's a high ground position, watching people rotate out. Luke does finally manage to look back over towards Doya.
I don't know how this guy is still alive. He is doing such a good job avoiding critical damage. Another grenade comes in, and that finally will get the knock.
And all this work. Luke, you've had to use every single grenade that you are carrying right now to throw it back over towards Doya. What was 4 that you used inside of that? That's a lot of utility, and Doya is still just crawling out on the other side of it like, ha! You still have to continue forward off of this.
I mean, it's a heroic effort for the really crap position he was put in, and he is able to do a little bit out of it. Like you said, he forced a lot of utility out of Lazarus. Let's see if that comes into play later.
I was hoping we might see a melee weapon come out there.
He did it last time.
Yeah, he punched him beforehand, but I figure if any team was going to do it, it might be Lazarus, Tempo Storm, or the Rumblers. I don't know. There's something about North American teams. They're all about just like creative ways of trying to take somebody down. My personal favorite.
Oh, creative. That's a nice way to say BM, man.
Well, I like Viking funerals. You know, whenever you walk up to a down member and you just drop a Molotov on them and walk away, you know? Those are the fun ones.
Okay, that one is good. I do like that one. All right, Gen G is making that rotation that we talked about earlier, Matt, where they have so much room in the north to work with. They're able to just come way up by La Cobreria. And of course, there is Pio in the back this time because he started the rotation, tried to find a way in on the eastern edge of this circle. There wasn't much going there. He saw some other teams crossing in front. So the other members of Gen G go ahead of him, and now he follows at the rear.
So the whole premise behind these type of rotations, we don't usually get a chance to talk about. Oh, no, Tempo Storm. So stop.
This is why we don't get
Hey, there we go. There we go. There we go. But you can see the fact that Gen G's coming up way towards the north. The funnel point on this circle is going to shift back down towards the south. So you can continue to get more and more space off of a longer rotation. Sure, you eat some blue out of it, but you manage to get a little bit more control and move into a safer spot. Now, all these teams that are playing towards center, they're all going to have to vie through several different teams. Like QM, they have about 4 different paths that they can take, and all of them already have a team sitting on it.
Yeah, like half this circle is completely unoccupied. You've got FaZe. They've set up a roadblock north of El Pozo, and here you go. Genesis is going to come across it, but a good job by Genesis to find some angles wide of FaZe to avoid much damage.
So it's going to be Taking through the first part of this, he's going to be able to take a couple of shots out, a little bit more out in the open, but there's going to be some trees, stuff like that, make it a little bit more difficult. At this point, you're just trying to buy space, take the shots on the side of it, and is that Genesis actually stopping back over towards this? Do they feel like they're in a good gatekeeping out position right now, or they want to go aggressive for it? I think maybe just trying to play it a little bit more safe, seeing if maybe they can just protect these other rotators as they're making their way through, because it's very hazardous making your way off the side of this. Shot coming up for the Rumblers, as it's just going to be right up next to W-Click.
Oh boy, Microfry is able to get one, not able to connect any more shots with that Mini 14. Flushes Rybo, immediately gets in this Bronco. He's going to try to make his way with the rest of the team. Now, W-Click did post up right in front of the Rumblers, so Los is now in the front position as the other members of the Rumble. You can see Microfry on the bottom right there is making his move to back him up.
So more control going back over towards the high ground for Rumblers right now, finding themselves actually being pushed on. This is kind of a role reversal coming out from them. They're like, wait, usually we're the guys that are supposed to charge stuff back over, but TSM holding the low ground back over. GEX looking back over towards them right now. Looks like they're just retreating back over, getting the information, but not wanting to push too much yet.
Love this rotation by Entis Ace. No one is over here on this road. If they do this right, they could safely get a pretty large chunk of real estate in the north. However, the other team from Korea, Gen G, is spread out. They're covering about an eighth of the north part of the circle themselves. Entis Force with 2 left with I think, a pretty aggressive 1-1 split with their last 2 players here.
When you got 2 people left, usually everybody's like cowering down, just trying to survive. These guys are running a split, just trying to control area and taking shots, trying to get more kills out of it.
I love the confidence. At least play with confidence here. I think that's what Entis Force needs to continue to do, and they will continue to find success because they are really strong, especially when they find themselves in the late game.
Got Genesis taking a couple of shots back over towards Na'Vi. Going to go ahead and rotate through. As you can see, Genesis playing a little bit more aggression. She's trying to come out off of this, trying to find the angle for it. But looks like Na'Vi should be able to retreat away from this. A doozy, not in too big of a risk from that push coming out. But we do see that there could be a couple of people waiting to waylay him depending on the path that it takes. But he should be able to meet back over with this. BC making a rotation. As we can see, Lazarus holding that high ground spot, and that's a rolling vehicle off in the distance. DJ Boy has to be careful. Is he going to be able to ride it? And yes, it should be fine.
It just rolls over. A nice little bit of physics love there for DJ Boy. He's taking some blue damage though, so the rest of VC is going way, way north, up by the mountain. That's to the north of La Cofradia. Purdy Curdy trying to get some shots into them as they cross from a massively long distance.
Well, it's more about control in this style of position, because if you can see how separated out Lazarus is off of that, they have multiple points that they're holding down, high-press points. Meanwhile, you can see 4 Angry Men taking a couple of shots back over towards T1 over here, and they did have one down, but they should be able to get the res off of it. But it's all these high ground spots now that are starting to rain damage towards everybody that's being forced into dips. Another hard shift off of this. We were making a joke about Trailer Park, but it's actually still inside the circle right now.
We might have some Trailer Park boys. We've got Entis Ace over there already. FaZe on the south end of this circle, so a bunch of teams going to have to come in, especially through that southeastern corridor, potentially through the crater fields, but there's already a lot of teams in that area, 4 AM being one of them.
Map knowledge is about to become so key. You know the harder parts of the circle where you don't get a lot of love on a regular basis, and yes, this is
that's on fire.
Hazardous. This is a hazardous rotation coming through. I like jump out. It's like, okay, ZGG, you have a new job. Just drive into them and explode.
What
looks
in
like
the world is he doing? That could be a really good grenade from Helen. It just comes up to the right of ZGG. Look at this 4 AM team. No fear. That Murado was on fire. A decent amount of damage put into it, and that would have blown up. Helen now finds himself on the right-hand flank for T1. It's just him and Adder left.
This is such a dangerous peek. As he looks around the corner, he gets instantly dropped off of this. This is the way 4 Angry Men love to play. Just walk up, throw you off your game, try to react off of it, and then they just run down on you and murder you. You can see T1's Adder is just trying to get away, trying to find some cover, get away from these evil demons that are chasing him down right now.
Yeah, he even took some damage from Sungjong there, and it will be Zanpa who finds him. There's a ton of teams in that area. T1 will go down as the first team in this round.
I love to watch 4AM and the way they play. They are just so powerful as they move through different parts of the map.
They're incredible. Their just fearlessness is something to behold. You don't see many teams that'll get in a flaming Murado and make a push onto another team.
They just have so much harassment capabilities. At any given time, they just move up, no fear, because they know they can take every single fight that's in front of them. Lazarus kind of on the flip side of that. They have a lot of aggression, but it's always controlled. It's always planned, trying to calculate that next move, trying to find that vulnerability inside of it. I think that's one of the reasons we see these two teams kind of scrap it up so much. It's just a conflux of different play styles just coming together and, oh, yeah, give me that shot again, please. Just look back over towards it. When's it going to connect with it? Look back up the hillside, and yeah, just tap it right in there. God, that's so good.
My goodness, back-to-back headshots. That is masterful shooting there. Wow, forever.
Rumbler's doing Rumbler things. It looks like they decided that they wanted the trailer park, and they've made a wreckage of vehicles around them as rotations are trying to come through. And it looks like QM is actually the ones that are suffering off of this, but Rumbler's sitting at 2 kills right now. Just going to go ahead and rotate back down, meet up with the rest of their teams, and kind of get a little bit more control on this angle as, oh man, QM, this is just not a good place to be, as there are 3 different teams taking pot shots back over towards you.
Yeah, GYY in a lot of trouble. Now you've got Lazarus in a duel with Tempo Storm. Sharp shot is knocked here by Luke, but they are in a compound, so we'll see if he can get that. Actually, the circle is closed in on him, so actually Luke is dead to rights here.
Right, so now where's the next circle going to take us? And it's going to go back over towards Force. A couple of shots now coming back over towards us. You can see 4 Angry Men still looking back over towards Lazarus. They're on the edge of the circle, nowhere near the next safe zone. These guys know that they're going to have to fight to get out of this position. 4 Angry Men trying to find that high ground spot. You can see Forever just trying to find the peak angle for it. But slowly and steadily, Lazarus is trying to creep up this hillside, trying to find some vulnerable point that they can push through.
All right, Lazarus is downhill from 4 AM. That is a steep one to climb, and they've got shots from the members of Tempo Storm coming into their backs as well. So a rock and a hard place here for Lazarus. Zhao Lu looking over. Some grenades coming through. Purdy Curdy is knocked here. Grenades are coming up. Uncivil trying to get something going. Luke is up here, but he is hurt. He's going to get knocked as well by Forever. The gatekeep by 4 AM is strong. Uncivil gets knocked as well.
Tempo Storm's coming up back behind this. They want a part of it, and suddenly 4M spins back around and says, no, this is just more kills coming over our direction. They do have Wayless down right now, but they have so much control over this territory.
It is just Alo left for Lazarus, trying to find some way to work along the side of his blue. He pre-fires over there. There's nobody over there for 4 AM. They're going to find him. Now, Wayless does accidentally catch Forever with that Groza on accident, and he is going to go down because we're phase 4. You can't res in that blue.
They can't go for the res. It feels like the only person that can kill 4 Angry Men right now is 4 Angry Men, as that was just... There was so much happening off the side of that, and they were fighting everything that moved around it. So we got Tempo Storm and says, okay, we don't have anything to do with that. They're in rotation, but there's a lot of people coming up back behind them, as well as VC inside of vehicles. A lot of peaks coming off of it. There's so many shots coming down. They're losing tires, vehicles exploding, rolling out, and that's going to be Tempo Storm eliminated in 12.
2 big pickups there for Nerf and Genesis. They need some points as well. Looking to see if they can have another strong finish on Miramar. We saw them do it once in this tournament where they won the final game of the day. Can they repeat that performance?
Tempo Storm getting eliminated out there is going to open up a lot of movement for VC now, as they had to contend off on that angle. So now a lot of these teams that are kind of already posted up starting to realize, okay, how do we make these pushes back over towards it? Gen G looking back down towards Rumblers right now. We already have one of their members down. Looks like Loki's thinking about pushing back over towards us. Los was kind of separated out to the side of this. I don't think he's going to have the cleanest angle back over towards where Cherry Poppins is at, but could spot him out in this rotation, and no, narrowly misses that.
Yeah, Gen G lost Pio. It looks like he might have got knocked and had a cooked grenade in his hand because he took himself out with that. So Gen G seeing if there is opportunity to catch some Rumblers out in the open. Taming does find Waldo. The nice spray from the N4. Here come the grenades up and over. Loki is your point man for Gen G. Seeing if they can find this knock and get the flush. That is going to back Cherry Poppins off, and he gets some damage, but he's going to back Esther off with some shots of his own.
Takes a lot of damage, though, when he's just trying to hide this out, trying to get a little bit more meds off. Meanwhile, the push is coming around. Los is trying to feed information while he's down. Loki's going to make the push over towards this. Is the spray going to come through? And nope, that's going to be the Rumblers going down in 10th. Gen G now up to 3 kills.
All right, this is a gut check moment for Gen G. You lost your superstar in Pio. He has showed up big here for them today. Can the surviving 3 members get it done? Taming has had a great day for himself as well. He had over 8 kills the last time I saw. We'll see if they can get some more, as Navi is putting the hurt onto 4 AM and Wayless. They want to blockade this Chinese team.
We talk about all these rotations and different angles and the way people play, and then there's 4 AM that's just walking into the circle and just taking every single fight fight that they can find. Up in front of them, it's going to have Na'Vi. Right next to Na'Vi is going to be TSM, but back behind this, GEX might make a push along a similar path for it. So now 4AM finding themselves on the outside of this, going to have to fight their way through several teams to make it to this next safe zone.
Yeah, this could be a hill too far to climb for 4AM. This one looks a little bit more difficult for them. VC has 2 members up there on the backside of Gen G there. Here come the shots from 4AM, putting some damage into a doozy. Grenades coming out. That is going to back off way less, but now it is just him left.
Walking back over towards Sydney, does get him down. Going to continue around on this, wants to go for another point, but realizes, okay, let's go ahead, show a little bit control, try to find the angle, see how Na'Vi reacts to this, see if he maybe can step up back over towards it. He's got the tools to work with. Remember, we did see them get that crate earlier. Now, Na'Vi's trying to figure out, okay, where's the aggression coming from? Where are we going to see the push happen at? And this is distracting them quite a bit. There's TSM on the outside of this. TSM now taking the shots back over towards GEX. See their vehicle rolling off into the distance. Leo's trying to make it away, but that's 2 members down for GEX right now. Just 1 up, I think, on the outside of this.
All right, that will be 2 down confirmed. TSM is also getting in on the fight with Na'Vi. Gustav gets a doozy over there, so really nicely done by TSM holding down this compound. Here come the grenades. Now that one just a bit too far. A doozy is still alive for now. Another one coming up and over for Gustav. That one also bounces just a bit too far.
Meanwhile, we did see that GX does get eliminated off of it. Wayless is looking back over towards TSM now. A little bit of shots go back and forth between them. I mean, the push coming out from VC right back up behind Gen G right now. I don't think that Taman knows that this is here. He's looking back on the other side of the shot that come out from Dome. That's one that's down and flush. Taman's got to be so cautious off of this. Instead, turns it back around, goes for the shots onto it, but he's very vulnerable from the backside of this. There's another team that could have an angle for it.
Yeah, if somebody sees him, and in fact, you can see a lot of people are shooting at Taman right now. He is out in the open trying to find any cover he can. Now, VC did have to back off a little bit. They're going to start pushing up and over this hill. Taman, is he going to get that heal off? Yes, the smoke is there to block the view from members of VC.
There's just nowhere to go right now, and you can see it's starting to get really messy as Na'Vi's finding themselves still with just 1 up right now. Wayless does go down. That's going to be 4 Angry Men going out in 8th. Grenades are raining down next to Na'Vi's sole member up that's just trying to crawl towards safety. TSM is just holding the line up on top of him, and it's just making a mini red zone off on that angle.
And this is the TSM that we saw in the semis. A great grenade from Iroh is going to find Bestalach, and Na'Vi is down in 7th.
TSM sitting at 7 kills now. VC looking back over towards Gen G, trying to find some type of path, some type of angle off of it. Everybody's playing back over towards the edge, except for, looks like we've got Genesis posted up as well as Ace, and the circle is going to move back over, favor Genesis, so it's going to be a lot of these teams playing off on the edge. Now have to figure out, how do they make their way into the new zone? What's the safest angle? And where do we have teams hiding, as there's so many people split out hiding in just little dips right now?
An important moment for Ace. Can they gatekeep the southern part of this circle? They have a very difficult team behind them, being FaZe Clan. Gustav gets some damage taken from K-Mine there. That's going to back him off. Some other members, he's going to be using that first aid kit. Genesis pretty well clumped up in there, so if a good grenade could come through, you might be able to bust them up a little bit.
So Genesis has control over the complex that's inside the safe zone, but TSM is really eyeing it. If we see a grenade hit through one of those windows, maybe just a nice shot, that might be the opening where we see TSM get a little bit more aggressive with it. Meanwhile, this peak battle still going on between Gen G, and it's going to be VC on the other side of it. It looks like VC starting to find themselves in a negative position. Loki takes a lot of damage, moves back over towards the rock that everybody seems to just be hiding around right now, and VC is just trying to retreat away from this.
Oh, that grenade just bounces too far over Loki's head. Loki's going to continue to heal up. Let's keep in mind that Tide does have that AWM in his hands. I want to see if he can get anything going with that. Now Alfaka looking over to Loki and Tamin as well. So Gen G trying to find some way into this circle. There isn't a lot of space for them to work with.
Now they're walking back down along Ace's sight lines. They still have about another 150 meters to go. VC has separated out, made their way back over towards the north, overseeing what's going on with this TSM and Genesis fight right now, as it looks like TSM is starting to get more and more control over that area, turning up everything for TSM right now, as I believe there's just one member up and alive for Genesis off on this, but it's going to be FaZe that takes a shot from back behind TSM.
FaZe made a huge rotation over to the east, and now they're catching both of these teams off guard. A lot of damage being done Fantastic movement here by FaZe to catch the backside and finish off TSM.
TSM goes down in 5th with 10 kills right now, but you can see FaZe is starting to be on the hunt. Push back down on this angle. There is a ton of utility. You can grab anything you want. There's so many crates right off in that position. Meanwhile, Gen G still alive, slowly creeping up right next to where Ace is at. You can see Joy is down. Ace is only sitting at 2 kills at this point, but somehow Gen G just keeps creeping up right next to them.
Wow, Taming is going to get another knock, so that's 2 knocked here for Entis Ace. He doesn't have a lot of health, and a good grenade from Rang is going to back him off and sit him down. Here comes Entis Ace looking up and over. Loki now the only one standing for Gen G, but there's only 4 teams left, so at least a 4th place finish for them.
Ace is separated out. They have 2 members out in different points. Looks like they might be thinking about going for the res back over towards Joy. With this reposition, you can see that Mickey fairly close towards the center of the circle. FaZe has complete control over the eastern part. New circle's going to pop. It is going to favor FaZe's position right now. VC in their rotation does manage to have a little bit of a foothold inside the safe zone, but really, it's about how are we going to see Gen G and Ace reposition into what could be a very dangerous position for both of these teams.
Yeah, they're going to have to try to stay below this hill. You can see Mickey looked up there, saw FaZe, and knew that he doesn't have a great angle. He's already in the circle at least. He's got to be careful of VC, but it looks like for now it's going to be FaZe and VC trading some shots while Loki just tries to wait this one out until Joy gets in a vehicle, gets some damage onto him. 8C now looking over at some nice shooting with the mini is going to find DJ Boy.
You can see FaZe is starting to get a lot of control over their sight lines. Mickey went down inside of this. Loki is just playing in a dip right now, praying the fact that Ace doesn't push along this line. He still needs to make a way back over towards safe zone, trying to get the spray back over towards Ace. A couple of shots are going to connect, but it's going to be retaliation shots coming out from Rang on the other side. They left him behind to try to provide a little bit more cover for the teammates. So I love the position coming out. They're in a very weak position, but now nobody can protect Rang, and he doesn't need it as he manages to make his way over.
Loki is being such a thorn in the side of Entis Ace right now. Mickey is still down. The smokes are coming out as they want to get their fallen teammate back up and running for them. Loki is going to use his bandages. He only has 1 first aid kit left as well. No body armor and a beat up helmet. So somebody gets a few shots into him. He's trying to find something, but it is going to be Mexi from FaZe that finishes him off. 8 kills so far for FaZe.
FaZe has control of the sight lines right now. They can kind of dictate how everything moves inside of this, but they have to be very, very cautious as they make these pushes on the side of it. If they go down in a very awkward position, that could open the door for these other teams. You can see Ace still just trying to use that little bit of a dip, try to move through this, try to break sightline away from FaZe, but that could open the door back up behind them for either grenades or VC to take the shots. The grenades are going to end up just a little bit too short.
They're just impacting right front, but that one is good. 8C is going to find both members of Entis Ace.
Now up to 10 kills. FaZe is making their way down the hillside. You can see shots come back over towards VC. Tide has to drop to his belly. Uba is just running across a field without any cover. No fear in the world. He knows his teammates are going to protect him, and they want control over this game, and they know exactly where VC is at.
All right, can Tide provide a miracle here with that AWM? He's got Domu as well for support, but the grenades are raiding in. FaZe has a ton of utility. Domu is down. It is just Tide left here.
This is FaZe just running right up into the face of VC and taking this game away. 12 kills coming up for FaZe.
FaZe clan showing up huge here in the end.